we'll do a small introduction and we'll get right to it. All right. All right, welcome back, guys, to our YouTube channel. I am Chet Nichols with my wife, Natalie, here. We are both IFBB pros and NPC judges. And we got a big treat for you here today because we're starting off our feature with Paul, and I do this for everybody. Their last name's Revelia. How do you say your last name? I never mess it up. I said it right?
Revelia, right, yeah.
All right, well, good deal. That's a first for me. Anyway, so first off, why don't you give a little bit of background about your education, how long you've been coaching, and kind of things like that, just as a nice introduction.
Yes, as far as goes with coaching, man, my introduction to it was when I did my first bodybuilding show prep in 2007, dating myself even more, Lane Norton. So that really started off. I was already slightly obsessed with bodybuilding as like a sport. And then after I reached out to Lane, you know, he was kind of at the forefront of this changing approach to dieting for shows. And so it really piqued my interest. I had always read all the books and magazines and, you know, maybe been a little bit misinformed. And Lane was kind of discussing some things that he had learned from Dr. Joe about flexible dieting and how to properly peak for shows. And so my first prepping for a show was so around, gathered a lot of interest. I documented my process on bodybuilding.com. And soon after, Lane just, you know, we became friends and he moved to Tampa where I live. And he just kept asking me to help him coach because he was getting overwhelmed. And I think I didn't feel capable, right? I was in IT. I had a master's degree in a different, so I didn't really feel like, you know, I should be doing this. But he helped and what was actually going on at the fitness industry at the time, how bad the situation was. And so I actually just started people for free, really enjoyed it, and started my own business called Pro Physique, which I'm still doing. So that's been almost 10 years now that Pro Physique has existed. And during that process, I've traveled, gone to seminars. I've, you know, been to the ISSN conferences, the metabolic health summits. You know, I've gone back to school. I'm very lucky backyard an exercise science program that is focusing on physique in Bill Campbell, University of South Florida. So it's really been fun for me to go back, take classes, understand exercise physiology, understand strength and conditioning. But I'm also very fortunate that like the people that I'm associated with are at the forefront of this stuff. Dr. Joe Komzeski, Dr. Brett Contreras, Dr. Eric Helms. All my friends are doctors now.
Exactly.
Obviously Lane Norton. So at this point, my coaching business has shifted where it's not just me anymore. As I started reaching my breaking point with clients, I had an opportunity to go, well, maybe I bringing on other coaches or figuring out what to do next, which was very scary. But I met a South Grand, and it's been 5 years since he's worked for me. He was the first hire I did with Pro Physique. It was literally sweep my garage, set up my gym, you know, and then he started like reviewing client inquiries, and then he got his master's degree in exercise science, and he expressed to me that he was interested in coaching. So that was the first foray into having an employee. And what I figured out was it really allowed me to become a coach again, because at a certain point when you start coaching, you're more of a business person. You know, I had to pay my taxes. I had to review the inquiries. You get more focused on like business than clients. And so over the years, you know, we've gradually progressed to the point now where we have so many coaches, employees that are so specific with their job as a coach again. I literally just open up my emails every day, speak to new clients, speak to current clients, go to shows, and someone is managing everything else for me. All the inquiries, all the invoices, you know, all the other coaches. So that's where we're at now. Pro Physique is now a company that is something I'm really proud of, because we have like highly educated, highly experienced coaches, and allows me to shoot for my goal, which is to become, you know, there's not like a way to say this, but you know, I want to be the best coach in the world. So
absolutely, gotta shoot big, man, or why are you doing it?
Yeah, well, honestly, when you set a goal like that, what I find is it helps my decision making. I go, does this make me a better coach or does it not? Does it make me a better coach to go argue with somebody on Facebook or Instagram? Absolutely not. I'll rather productively, focused on my clients, focused on my goals. Long enough, you succeed. And so that's just what I've been up to. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah, I mean, in the last few years, your company, Pro Physique, has really exploded, and I've heard people make comments. Well, man, he just all of a sudden overnight exploded. No, you didn't. You've worked at this for years. Years, just like you said. And one of the things I admire about you, and this is actually, you don't know this, but we kind of tailored our stuff kind of how you progressed. I didn't even want to work with people for a long time because, like, you started with Lane, then I competed, was fortunate enough to win my pro card, and still didn't do it other than with, a few friends, things like that, who knew I was just beginning, and, didn't want to be one of those coaches who wins a show and then all of a sudden they think they're capable of coaching. We see that all the time. I'm sure you see that all the time. And a lot of the clients you get probably come from those, and now you kind of got to fix and then move on from that. You kind of find that pretty common?
Yeah, I mean, the common question I get now is like, should I be a coach? It seems like there's so many coaches out there. And I always say, no, there's not enough good coaches out there. So
we're good coaches.
I don't think it's a problem if you go do a show and you do well, become a coach. But I I believe it should almost be forced upon you. You shouldn't be having to make posts. I have a lot of thoughts and feelings about how to market how to grow a business. Doesn't mean my way is right, but I don't think talking about yourself is attractive as a business proposition. Like, look what I did, look what I can do. I think it's better if you can say, I helped this person who worked really hard. It wasn't me, it was their hard work, but I created the blueprint for them. And then let your clients speak for you. Let your friends and family speak for you. That's really the best way to grow.
Yeah, those are your billboards.
Exactly.
Yeah. I've never paid for a single ad, and I probably never will. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to tell people, because we all like credit and stuff, but like when our competitors say, coach to this, I always include, you can have the best coach in the world, give you the best plan, the best everything, but the athlete has to execute it too. They're the ones that are actually doing the work. We kind of guide them along and keep them on track and stuff, but we can't do the work for them. So they're the ones that really do the credit. At least that's kind of the way, we like to view it. So let's kind of switch gears a little bit. So we'll kind of go into some questions that we, hear a lot, and I'm sure you've been hearing for quite a while. But what we get a lot of is, I know you've talked about a lot, fat burners. And I mean, how many times I get the question about fat burners, which ones out there are good? Are they worth it? What's your opinion on those?
Well, I think they're mislabeled. They're not fat burners. I think their greatest value is at a point in the process where, for most people, they want to eat more, and so they're appetite suppressants. And they're at a point in the prep where if they don't have a boost to their energy, then they're not going to move as much. So for me, to me, they're appetite suppressants / stimulants. I think they get labeled as fat burners because people think, oh, you take this, you burn more fat. Well, yeah, if you eat less and move more, they are a fat burner. So I think that's where most fitness into a problem is labeling some fat burner, when actually what we're looking for with supplementation is supplements that allow us to perform and recover better, and thus get results. And that's really what supplements are for, not take this same and magic results.
Yeah, I know. I see that a lot on the groups for competitors. The bikini girls will write in and they're asking for their peers to give them some guidance, and they have not been able to shed as much weight as they want to. They're right down there at the end. And so, is it time for me to add in a fat burner? Well, if you're tired and you're sluggish, you're not really being able to push in your workouts and you need a little extra boost, or you can't stay away from the pantry, but it's not going to be that thing that suddenly you start shedding because you took this pill.
Yeah, not magic.
No, I think a lot of those things are overrated, and things that are underrated are like recovery, sleep, low intensity, steady cardio, eating the right kind of balanced macronutrient. Like, those things are way more valuable than, if anything, than pre-workouts and all that stuff. That's just on a certain day, you might need something a little more to get your workout in and feel good. But even that has, you know, limited reach.
Mhm, exactly. You had another question too about BCAAs, I guess.
Oh, so I have a list of questions that some of the bikini competitors and some of the groups have asked, and they wanted to know your thoughts specifically. What are your thoughts? You just mentioned BCAAs. On using BCAAs, do they help spare muscle during a deficit, and are they worth it?
That's really the time that I focus on branched chain amino acid use during my improvement season, when I'm a little fluffier and I'm eating a little heavier calories. I will only really have them as my intra workout. But you know, the first time I ever dieted for contest prep, I took BCAAs for the first time, and it was the first time I ever dieted down. And there's other variables at play, but it was the first time I dieted down and felt like, wow, I was getting stronger while losing body fat. So yeah, I've always used them when I prep, and I still recommend them. There is some research out there that suggests that, you know, if you're getting enough protein in your diet, you may not need them. But for me, I still like to use them. I still suggest them. If it's a monetary concern, then yeah, don't stress yourself, you know, when it comes to your budget for branch chains. But for me, between meals, especially when you're lean, you're hungry. So they actually help with satiety. You know, a lot of them taste very good. You know, like I'm going to brag about Core Nutritionals because obviously I'm sponsored by them. But, you know, they came out with one last year, sweet tea. Gosh, like I'm a Georgia boy, and
You're from Texas.
You're from Texas, so we know that sweet tea taste.
I didn't know about the sweet tea.
Yeah, no.
Oh man, it's disturbing how good it is. So like, you know, do you want to talk anecdote? I feel they work for me. I feel they've had some benefit. But there's also just some value in, like, yeah, you're just between meals, you're getting amino acids, you're getting something that tastes good and sweet through to your next meal. You're staying hydrated. I think it can be a valuable addition. Yeah.
Okay, real quick, do you feel like there could be a potential for any negative where someone shouldn't use them?
I mean, the only potential I could see is if somebody's drinking of them, that they're getting extra calories, because there are trace calories in them. I don't see a negative to them. I mean, I know people that drink them around the clock.
Yeah, I tell you what, the flavored ones are really one of the things that help us get our water in. For one thing, especially
that's for me too. I'm not a good drinker.
Yeah, as soon as we started finding a flavor she liked, she was out there with the big old gallon bro jug finally for the first time, and finally started getting her water in. And guess what, though? Speaking of water, she felt much better too. So that's a positive thing to it as well.
So branching off of that, someone else, since we're on the same topic, wants to know what your thoughts are on inter-workout carbs and EAAs while building muscle.
Inter-workout carbs in a building phase, I don't really see much value in that if you're having a meal prior to training. I mean, I was brought up coaching in a manner where I kind of focus my carbohydrates around training pre and post workout when your body is really sensitive to them. So, and I will say this, I have had intra-workout carbs before, but this was one powerlifting in the gym for 2.5, 3 hours. And yeah, even though it's not a lot of sets and reps, the intensity is so high that you literally haven't eaten for 3 or 4 hours that, yeah, you can start to feel a little fatigue. The other time would be when you're really lean in contest prep. So towards the end of contest prep, you can literally just I would bring candy with me because I would start to get a little fatigued midway through my workout. I'd have 20 grams of sugar from, candy, and boom, I finished my workout strong because you're that sensitive to food at that point. But I don't plan my day around intra-workout carbohydrates. I typically get, 50 to 150 grams of carbs prior to training most days between breakfast and lunch or something like that. If you train fasted, if you get up in the morning, walk in the gym, start training, yeah, maybe you put some dextrose in your BCAAs, maybe you have a banana, but that'd be about it. As far as essential amino acids, I've never used those ever in my life. I feel like if you're getting full spectrum aminos from your food and then making the branch chains, leucine, isoleucine, and valine, which are, depleted, then that's really where I would see a benefit.
Okay.
But wait a minute, you said using that in prep. I mean, candy in prep, I thought, not supposed to do that, right?
Oh, I see what you're doing to me. No, I'm a full-on flexible dieter. I've been hitting macronutrients. Now, I'm not going to suggest my clients get a lot of their food from candy, but intra-workout, you want something to hit you quickly right into your bloodstream, boom, and you're continuing to perform. if I was to say have some oatmeal mid-workout, it's going to
And I
take
wait
a
a
while.
little bit.
You'll hit later. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the goal. So that's, you know, I believe your dietary needs are a budget. So like, yeah, when you're lean and I wouldn't suggest any carbs from foods that aren't very high in volume, but yeah, there's times when, you know, sugar is going to be good for you.
Yeah, it can be used as a helpful tool.
Correct.
Essentially.
Correct. Actually, before you go to the next question, we'll go back to something I saw you post on Instagram a lot. And by the way, go ahead and give everybody your Instagram account out there. So
It's just at Paul Revelia. I managed to snag my name. There are no other Revellas on Instagram that I know of.
Well, a lot of people put under Pro Physique, and they say, no, you got to go by his name, and then it'll come up. It's easier to find that way. But anyway, you made a post a while back, and I might be butchering it here a little bit, but you mentioned even in contest prep, you know, if it's the right time and it fits your balance, go out there and have a little cheeseburger or something like that, because that can be a benefit to you. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, so this is something, hold on a second. My door to my office just flew open. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I guess I didn't shut it all the way. The wind just kind of.
That's all right. We have a dog in the background might start barking, an old English bulldog, so I may have to go quiet her down a little bit and do the same thing. So
that's all right. My dog will bark. We got the lawn people here to be barking before too long. So yeah, these are some things you really notice when you do this for a very long time is you just start to notice the body responds favorably to certain things. And what I noticed was my competitors would do a show, go out, have a hamburger, and they'd get back in prep. So they had another show in front of them, right? So they didn't just go off on the deep end. They did things they wanted. They would always get better. They would get leaner. They would look better. They would feel better. And what when you start to learn a little bit about nutrition, and this is where I feel like I don't want to step outside of my scope, but sometimes I feel like these coaches that are giving out meal plans, they're not putting a lot of thought into it. You know, if your nickname has the word tilapia in it, then it's probably a thing. If red meat or fat is actually going to break down certain vitamins and minerals. So your digestive system isn't one track minded. It doesn't just care about tilapia and asparagus. If you're not getting a full spectrum of foods, then you're not going to have like full healthy digestion, and cutting out whole food groups for months at a time can really have a negative impact on your ability to digest. Everybody talks about, oh, I get bloated at the end of prep. Well, I promise you, if you eat nothing but the same 5 foods for months at a time, you're going to have some problems. And so what I started noticing was like, man, if this is helping my clients after their first show, why are we waiting to the first show to do it?
Exactly.
And then we've run into, now the research is out about diet breaks and refeeds. And, these are things that we've been doing as coaches for years. And then a study comes out, but the study was based on what we see, right? So this is where kind of science, and we can go, okay, we're doing this when we do this. So yeah, I'll have people schedule a hamburger. Everyone will go, oh my gosh, you can't have a hamburger in prep. And I'm like, well, what you're picturing is a triple decker cheeseburger with bacon and mayonnaise. No, I'm talking about red meat, a bun, lettuce, pickle, and a tomato. That's a freaking hamburger. It doesn't have to be a garbage. And there's something in my mind that's kind of magical about some fatty red meat, just helping you digest, break things down. Maybe some of those foods that to be digested for a while are now kind of moving through you. So yeah, I do think value in taking an approach where you look at results of not just accept the current dogma that is bodybuilding.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're just looking for the shape. We're looking for an overall package. And regardless of what bro science says, if a burger can help you look better,
then why
you're
not?
not wearing a sign around that shows the judges you had a burger and which girls had burgers and which girls didn't, and we're judging harshly on that. If you get up there and you look great, take that path to the stage, because that's the one that's going to help you win.
And learn from it too.
It's common now, or not. I think it's always been common to brag about how harsh your prep is.
Yes.
Like day 74 of fish only. Like, congratulations.
Like honor or something. I still don't get that.
Yeah. No, I took great pride And the fact that I won my first ever NPC show doing flexible dieting, drinking 2 gallons of water the day of the show, eating a sub sandwich the morning of the show, while everyone around me thought I was just being ridiculous. And then I got accused of having great genetics. And I'm like, that's loud. I'm natural. And I'm 6 foot.
You're on something.
Yeah, yes. Great genetics or kids. The same thing actually happened to me, my first show.
Same.
Yeah, I mean, well, you too, actually. And of course, you know, like you, my first coach was Lane and everything. So it's a Jay Cutler Classic, and I'm sitting back there. By the time I stepped on stage, I think I already had over a gallon of water. And, you know, I was eating little Debbie donuts, my powdered donuts. I mean, that's my go-to and stuff. And people were, I mean, staring. You heard the chatter in the background and everything. And here this guy is who's 43 years old and step on stage, first time ever, masters, novice, open, won them all and won the overall. The guy that was flexible dieting, the guy that had a ton of water, the guy that had a little bit of extra snack backstairs. I mean, she had a similar experience with her. Heck, one girl was back there so long without eating anything, she almost passed out. And poor Natalie she literally almost missed the last call out because she actually went over and got her some peanut butter and some water and helped her on stage with her. Of course, she was competing against. She actually helped her, but that poor lady, she had been working forever, but got bad advice. She almost didn't make it out there. And that's sad.
And there's no award for missing your show because you dieted the harshest. You know, I mean, that's not going to give you any benefit.
A lot of what I do now, because I've had the good fortune of working with some really high caliber athletes, and a lot of what I end up doing is undoing kind of the psychology of bodybuilding, because I've never felt this good during peak week, and when do I take the diuretics, and when do I do this? And I'm like, you almost have to. They almost are like, okay, whatever you say, and then they go do well, and then they're like, wow, I cannot believe that this is bodybuilding. Like I can actually go into peak week and come out of the show without an eating disorder.
That right there, that little clip could be the entire premise for a show. I mean, that's just the thing that people don't understand, because it's been beat into them that it's got to be super hard. I mean, it's hard. I'm not saying it's not going to be hard, but
it's very hard, and it's very hard, but it doesn't need to be unnecessarily hard. And I would argue that doing it that hard, the result is not as good.
Yeah, exactly.